don't mind me. I was just imagining, just for a moment, what it might be like to cross the finish line at an Olympic track stadium. How amazing would it be with a crowd of thousands of people screaming and cheering you on? It would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it? I want to start this morning by telling you about an Olympic champion by the name of Derek Redmond. You may not have actually heard of him, but he's very famous in the sports world. But interestingly, he didn't become most famous for winning an Olympic medal. Here's a picture of Derek Redmond. He was definitely a champion. He held the British record for the 400 metre sprint and won gold medals in the 4x400 metre relay at the World Championships, the European Championships and the Commonwealth Games. He trained hard and he was a winner. However, this is not what made him a hero. He was at his athletic peak when he lined up for the 400 metre semi-final at the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. In an article he wrote for the Daily Mail, titled "The Day That Changed My Life," this is what he said. "When I took my place on the starting blocks, I felt good. For once I had no injuries despite 8 operations in 4 years, and I'd won the first 2 rounds without breaking a sweat, including posting the fastest time in the first round heats. I was confident, and when the gun went off, I got off to a really good start. I got into my stride running around the first turn and I was feeling comfortable. But then I heard a popping sound. I kept on running for another 2 or 3 strides, and then I felt the pain. I'd pulled a hamstring before, and the pain is excruciating. I couldn't believe this was happening after all the training I'd put in. The pain was intense. I hobbled about 50 metres until I was at the 200 metre mark. Then I realised it was all over. I looked around and saw that everyone else had already crossed the finishing line. But I don't like to give up at anything. And I decided I was going to finish that race if it was the last race I ever did. All of these doctors and officials were coming onto the track trying to get me to stop, but I was having none of it. Then, with about 100 metres to go, I became aware of someone else on the track. I didn't realise it was my dad, Jim, at first. He said, "Derek, it's me. You don't need to do this." And I just said, "Dad, I want to finish. Get me back in the semi-final." He said, "Okay, we started this thing together and now we finish it together." He managed to get me to stop trying to run and to just walk. And he kept repeating, "You're a champion, you've got nothing to prove." We hobbled over the finish line with our arms around each other, just me and my dad, the man I'm really close to, who supported my athletics career since I was 7 years old. I've since been told there was a standing ovation by the 65,000 crowd, but nothing registered at the time. In Seoul 4 years earlier, I didn't even get to the start line because of an Achilles injury I had. And they wrote DNS, did not start, next to my name. I didn't want them to write DNF, did not finish, in Barcelona. Wow, Derek Redmond is a hero in my book for sure, but isn't it interesting that he didn't become a hero because he won a gold medal particularly? He became a hero because he didn't give up. He ran his race and he made it to the finish line with the help of his dad. And he's now an inspiration to millions of people across the globe. We too can be unlikely heroes when we choose to never give up. Derek Redmond had his dad by his side to help him finish his race and get over that finish line. And we have our Heavenly Father by our side as we run the race called life. This term at Wildfire Kids Church, we're learning all about some everyday heroes from the Bible and how with God's help we can be just like them too. Today's hero from the Bible is Paul. He was also a man who ran his race and he didn't give up. One of the most athletically challenging events in the Olympic Games is the long hurdle race. This is a race that's run over 400 metres, and the runners have to stay in their lane as they compete to leap over 10 hurdles along the track. The best athletes can complete this race in about 50 seconds. I've got a hurdle here to show you what one looks like, but you probably know because I'm sure you've done hurdling in school sports. And you'll know it's pretty challenging, isn't it? Well, a 400 metre running race around an Olympic track is hard enough, but running while you're having to jump over these hurdles along the way, well, that's even more challenging, isn't it? Well, the challenges that we face in life are a bit like hurdles that we have to jump over. And Paul, an unlikely hero that we're learning about today, well, he certainly faced some hurdles in his life. He faced a lot of challenges. Paul was working to spread the gospel of Jesus, the good news of what Jesus had done. But it wasn't always easy. People didn't always like what he had to say either. He talks about these challenges in his letter to the Corinthian church in the Bible. And I'm going to read you just a little bit of this letter and some of the challenges that he had to face. I'm going to pop outside to do this. I'm going to take my hurdle with me, and my son Cameron is going to help me with this bit. Okay, I'm going to read about Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 to 27. And each time Paul mentions a challenge or a hurdle in his life, Cameron here, who is warming up, he's going to take a run and a jump over this hurdle. Shouldn't be too many, right? It's only a few verses. Well, let's read and find out. Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23, and this is Paul speaking. I have worked hard. I have been in prison often. I have suffered terrible beatings that I almost died. Well, that's a pretty big challenge to start with, being beaten and put in prison for sharing the gospel. Right, Cam? Go. Even still, Paul never gave up. Can you say that with me? Paul never gave up. Next verse, 2 Corinthians 11:24 says, 5 times the Jews gave me 39 strokes with a whip. That's a huge hurdle Paul faced. Off you go, Cam. Even still, Paul never gave up. Next verse, 3 times I was beaten with sticks. Go. Even still, Paul never gave up. Once they tried to kill me by throwing stones at me. Even still, Paul never gave up. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. Go, Cam. Even still, Paul never gave up. You getting tired at all yet, Cam?
Just a little.
Little bit tired? Okay, we keep going. I have had to keep on the move. I have been in danger from rivers. Go. Even still, Paul never gave up. I have been in danger from robbers. Even still, Paul never gave up. I have been in danger from my fellow Jews and in danger from Gentiles. Go. Even still, Paul never gave up. Verse 26, I have been in danger in the city, in the country, and at sea. I have been in danger from people who pretended they were believers. Go, Cam. Even still, Paul never gave up. Verse 27, I have worked very hard. Often I have gone without sleep. Go. Even still, Paul never gave up. Okay, Cam, one more. You can do it. Only one more to go. Last bit. I have been hungry and thirsty. Often I have gone without food. I have been cold and had no clothes. Go, Cam. Even still, Paul never gave up. How amazing that no matter what hurdles Paul faced, he didn't give up. He was so passionate that he didn't let anything stop him from telling people about Jesus. Paul wrote about half of the New Testament, and in his letter to Timothy, he said this. He said, "This is the only race worth running. I've run hard to finish the race, believed all the way, and all that's left for me now is the cheering and God's applause. Paul truly was an unlikely hero who ran the race and didn't give up. Do you know, we're all running a race, the most important race of all, but we're not competing against each other, but we need to make it to our finish line. Our life is like a marathon that we take one day at a time. And here's the thing about marathons, if we try to just sprint and get out hard and fast, we're actually not going to make it very far at all. A marathon takes endurance to make it to the finish line without giving up. Paul said in Acts chapter 20, verse 24, "But I do not account my life of any value, nor as precious to myself, if only I may finish my course and the ministry that I receive from the Lord Jesus, to testify to the gospel of the grace of God." Many of you may know this, but Paul actually started off attacking Christians, but because of his encounter with Jesus, he became one of the most well-known church leaders, and he wrote much of the New Testament in the Bible. But as we heard, he faced some incredible challenges along the way, from being shipwrecked to being thrown in jail. But he was passionate about serving God, and he did not give up. Many of you sports fans out there, particularly footy fans, you would know that in sport there's a phenomenon called the home ground advantage. This is when a sports team plays at their home ground, in their home city, and to a crowd of largely their own supporters. The team has an advantage because they're playing on home turf. It's familiar to them, and it's perhaps where they train as well. The home ground atmosphere is electric. Stadiums full of supporters cheering for their team, wearing their colours and waving their flags. The home team are more likely to win than the visiting team, who doesn't have much of a crowd behind them. I remember when I was in school, I was quite good at the 1500 metre race. I would compete against other schools, and one thing I clearly remember is that when I would go to compete, I would have some of my friends and family would come along to cheer me on, and sometimes, especially when I was flagging towards the end, they would actually run alongside the track, but right beside me. And towards the end, when I was hurting and I just wanted to stop, they would say, "Come on, Jen, come on, you can do it, you can do it. Look, you're nearly there, not much further, you can do it." And it was that cheering that gave me the extra burst of energy that I needed to be able to make it to the finish line. Well, do you know, in life, Jesus is our cheerleader. He's our greatest cheerleader. He is cheering us on, renewing our strength, and sustaining us as we run this race. And our memory verse for this term, it reminds us that he has promised he will never leave us, he will never forsake us. He's there through every high and every low. And he is there to sustain us so that we won't give up. He's there to help us to run to win the prize that he has for us and to finish the race of life with him. I'm going to finish this morning with a little clip. I really like this clip because it reminds us just what the Apostle Paul teaches us in the Bible. That heroes never give up, but they also keep their eyes fixed on what is most important. And with Jesus by our side, we can run well and we can never give up. This clip is made by LifeKids, which is the children's ministry of Life Church in the US. So enjoy that. But before I go, I just want to say a big happy Father's Day to all you dads and granddads out there. And kids, make sure you look after Dad well today. I hope you all have a truly blessed day. And until next time, my wildfire heroes, bye for now.
I could live my life for a lot of other reasons. I could aim for a lot of different goals. I could do a lot of other things with my time and energy. But I've made a choice. I want to win. This life, it isn't mine at all. I'm giving it up. I'm trading it in. My energy, my time, my strength, It's not mine anymore. I've made a decision. This race is my life. Everyone else may choose to spend their time doing all kinds of other things. Watching TV, playing video games, shopping for the latest stuff, collecting the latest toys and trinkets, and then there's the whole endless online world. But not me. I used to spend time on those things, but now I consider that to be all a big waste. Those are just distractions to me now. That's time I'd rather spend becoming one with Him. I've got to be disciplined. I've got to focus. I must have purpose in every step. I'm the boss of my body. I have to make it do what it should. I've got to play by the rules. I don't want to be disqualified. This isn't just practice. I want to win. I won't complain about it. I won't take time to argue with haters or listen to critics. I know I'm different from everyone else. But that's just what makes me shine. So I'm just going to get out there every single day and do what I need to do to win. Because I know that on that day, I won't let anything hold me back from reaching the goal. I'm taking off anything weighing me down. I'm getting rid of anything that slows me down. My hands may get tired, my knees may feel weak, but I feel stronger every day because I keep my eyes focused straight ahead. I've got something to look forward to at the finish line. I'm going to be proud of the choices I made, that it wasn't all for nothing, that all that hard work paid off, that everything I poured my life out for prepared me for this. At the end of this race, the ultimate prize is waiting for me. I'll meet Jesus face to face.
That was a great race. Well done, son. Welcome home.